Well, hello there, and welcome to another episode of the Melanin Mayhem podcast, hosted by your favorite country girl, Renee Davis. If this is your first time stopping by the House of Mayhem, let me put you up on game, boo. You see over here, I'm shouting out all the criminalistic masterminds that did some prolific shit, but you've never heard the story because the media buried the shit. My goal is to single-handedly dispel this myth in our community that there are just some crimes that Black people don't commit. Because we do, we did, and we still doing serial type of shenanigans. If you don't believe me, ask the fine upstanding members of the Noir Nation, my motherfucking crew. My day ones, twos, and trays. I'm talking about the ones that call me cousin and auntie and big sis. They make sure I got a good old plate over there to cook out because they know I'm hell on a spades table and I talk a lot of shit. Hey, Sugarfoots. I hope your March has started off on a good foot because I'm about to fuck up all the feng shui up in this bitch today. As y'all can see, I sound a little bit better. Finally went to the doctor because, honey, Thursday last week, I thought your girl was going to the upper room. Couldn't breathe in this bitch. Breathing is important. Very. Don't let nobody tell you no different. One breathing treatment and a shot of steroids in my ass later. And as you can hear, there is improvement. I am still not 100%. I'm going to call it like 78 and some change. But I'm coming. I'm coming. But this allergy season apparently is going to be hell on us. So if you suffer like me from time to time, get yourself ready, baby, because it's coming. The pollinating. That's what we call it here in the South. Now, y'all know how I like to keep y'all on your toes. And today, I got a good one for you. And it's going to be the reverse of what we usually get into. See, today, I got the story of some audacious fuckery that went down in Philadelphia in the late 80s. But here, check this out. The audaciousness didn't come from our supposed mayhem maker. Oh no. The diabolical nature of this prolific crime was at the hands of the law and the court system. Y'all ain't gonna believe this shit. Well, maybe you will, because the sad fact of the matter is that this shit happens all the time in our community. And sadly, by the time we really find out what had happened it's too late to do anything about it. But that's okay, because I'm here to report the news, and god damn it, that's just what I'm gonna do. So this week, let me bring to the front of the congregation this week's Melanin Mayhem maker, Mr. Leonard Christopher. Now we're gonna call him the Faux serial killer, because that shit ain't real. I'ma tell you. All right, y'all, let's jump right on into it. Now, we don't really have a lot of background information on Leonard. I know that he was born in Philadelphia in 1952 and some basic information about his background. But that's okay, because this week I'm going to tell you a story, and we're going to see if you think that this is fact or fiction. You see, Leonard lived. We do know that. We know that he joined the Navy and that he was honorably discharged. But when he came back to Philadelphia, he found love. That's a wonderful thing. Leonard got married, had a child, but somewhere along the way, Leonard's life took a change. The military man was trying to find peace at the bottom of a bottle. And y'all know, that shit never ends well, and it didn't for Leonard. His little happy family disintegrated, and his wife left him and took his child. But by then, Leonard was too far in that bottle to worry about who was gone and worry about a job or all those things like that. And before long, he found himself to be a rusty, crusty, drunk-ass nigga. The neighborhood on Frankfort Avenue in North Philadelphia, they saw this change in Leonard. They saw him go from being a positive, upstanding family man to being a bum-ass nigga. Lovable, but a bum nigga, nevertheless. Gone was the stability in his life. Now Leonard out here with a beer belly. He living over in an abandoned house. He always looked disheveled and got a little smell about him. And he stayed getting his bag on. Now, unlike many of our mayhem makers, Leonard was down and out, but the neighborhood didn't see no crazy in him, right? There was no perceived danger from Leonard at all. He was just down on his luck. He stayed at the bar though. He had two favorites. His first one, the Little Spot Bar, it was over on Frankfurt Avenue, and you could catch Leonard there every morning, asking for cigarettes and anything else a motherfucker was willing to give. The people over at the bar, you know, the regulars, the bartender, and the people who be there every day just like Leonard, they called him Chris the Pest. He was harmless, but annoying. The nigga was there every day like it was his job. And when he got off on his first job, he would go over to his second job, over at the Happy Taps bar. That's where Leonard spent his evenings, honey. Still begging for cigarettes and shit, and the occasional Coke 45 because you know that malt liquor go down good in the evening. Anything that you could spare to Leonard to get his drink on, he was with the shits. And over at the Happy Taps bar, the regulars over there, they called him Fat Albert or King of the Mooches. Because again, the nigga was always begging. But he was harmless. And if he wasn't around, the peoples wanted to know where the fuck Leonard was. He was a part of the fabric of Frankfurt Avenue. I would even hazard to say that the people were rooting for Leonard to get his shit together because they knew where he came from and they knew his potential to have a better life than what the fuck he was going through at the time. But if you know like I know, baby, prayer changes things. And something shifted in Leonard's life. And somewhere around August, September 1989, I think Leonard got tired of just existing. And he wanted to live again. He wanted to be a part of society and not regulated to the margins. So what'd he do now? Leonard got up off his rusty dusty and got himself gainfully employed. Yes, he did. He walked right into Newman's Seafood Market and asked them for a job. And now they knew Leonard. He's a drunk. But somebody in there was like, you know what? We're going to give this nigga a chance. We're going to give Leonard the opportunity to prove to us that it's in him to do better. And he did. Baby, that beer belly started to go away because he was drinking less. Now, don't get it twisted. He was still spending his days and nights at the bar, but he was also putting in work. Like, he put in a full 8 to 12 hour day, right? So he's drinking less. He's looking good because he is bathing and he's shaving, trying to look presentable like, you know? His clothes, he started taking them to the laundromat to wash so they didn't smell and they were clean. And after working for a little while, he was able to turn them paychecks over to somebody for rent in his own little apartment. It was in the hood. It wasn't nothing to write home about, but it was his. And it was his first step on his road to recovery. We're rooting for you, Leonard. Come on, man. Now, I'm not trying to say that Leonard turned into a saint or nothing. I think I've been clear about that. He just got a job. He is trying to be on the road to the recovery. He's still going over to the Little Spot Bar every morning before it was time for him to go to work. It was convenient. It was like right across the street. So he would go over there, have a few drinks, go to work, put in 8 to 10 hours, good and fish, and then he would get off work, go to his evening bar, go have a few libations, still begging a little bit. Hey, man, can I get that shot? Hey, man, what you got on my mouth liquor today? Didn't you just buy a fresh pack of cigarettes? Let me get one. Who drinking Ripple tonight? I want some. You know, the nigga still like the bag. But I want to point out to you that I have not told you anything about any type of criminal behavior with Leonard. That's because it ain't none. Leonard was a drunk. The most he was a nuisance, not a criminal. No record of any kind anywhere. Okay, now that I've given you the lowdown on our mayhem maker, let me tell you a little bit about some shit that was going on in Philly in this little neighborhood on Frankfurt Avenue. If you are new to the pod and you haven't had a chance to listen to some of the previous episodes, you may not know this, but we over here at Melanin Mayhem, the ones who come in every week, we have come to find out that there are usually multiple serial offenders out here offending at the same time. And this was true of Philly at the time. What I want to tell you about today is just one set of murderations that were attributed to a specifically named serial killer, the Frankfurt Slasher, the Night Stalker. Just this one. It was some other shit going on in Philly, but we ain't gonna talk about that, all right? And I want to tell you this, how it all started. Starting in 1985, there was a series of murders of white women. These particular white women all had the same common theme. They like to drink a little bit, right? Like on the regular though, these Caucasoid women was coming up dead. And their killations weren't, shall we say, regular killings. They were of the sensational nature. The killer was putting some stank on them, right? It was so much so that the police and the citizens felt that there was a serial killer on the loose fucking up these drunk-ass white women. Well, why did they think it was the work of a serial killer, Nay? Well, because all of the women pretty much died the exact same way. They were sexually assaulted and then knifed up something vicious. Ooh, I'm talking about it was nasty work. Now, I also need to drop this little bit of tea on you about these victims, because the white media is shady as to their own. And why they do us like that? So they say all of these women's was not only envelopians, but they stayed in and out the bars on Frankfurt Avenue, that they were some hard drinking, cigarette smoking women's. And I heard they got that nasty woman's disease. Oh, I'm sorry. Y'all know how the color purple just sneak up on me. Pay me no mind. But anyway, yeah, they didn't really think too highly of these 8.5 by 11s, right? And so it all started August 19th, 1985, when 52-year-old Helen Patton was found killed in a septic train yard in the Frankfurt neighborhood. Baby, I mean, somebody stabbed her up real good. Baby, she had stabs to the head, the chest, and her right arm just getting sewed up. This motherfucker used Helen like a pincushion. He was just jugging her over and over and over again. They say Helen had at least 47 holes, not on the original model, on that ass now. And whoever was doing the stabbing also raped Helen. Okay, so that's one. That was bad. Police came, they took their time, they investigated, and it was like, okay, we'll be on the lookout. But then, 68-year-old Anna Carroll, she was found January 3rd, 1986, and it was pretty much rinse and repeat of Helen. Raped and meat tenderized with a knife inside her own damn apartment in the 1400 block of Rittner Street on the Frankfurt Avenue side. She was stabbed multiple times in the back, and then that motherfucker cut her whole damn stomach open. And just to be doggish, the motherfucker left a kitchen knife sticking in Anna's ass. Now, when the police came out to do their shit, what they saw was that, you know what? No forced entry. So Anna let that ass in. And there were no signs of a struggle. There was no burglarization of her place. So whoever did this, they came in invited. They did her dirty, and then they left without taking a goddamn thing. Now, I'ma say this. The envelopians don't give a fat rat's ass about talking ill of the dead. When the reporters went to go talk to her neighbors, they basically said that Anna was a bitch and she didn't fuck with them, and her ignore game was on 1,000. And that maybe if she had fraternized with her neighbors a little bit, she wouldn't have gotten shanked. Ooh, the shade. Oh, Anna liked to hang out at the Golden Bar over on Frankfurt Avenue. Let that woman get her drink on in peace. She ain't want no new friends. Ain't nothing wrong with that, but that's still some shady shit, right? So the killer took a little siesta, and then he dropped his next body on Christmas Day, December 25th, 1986. That was when the body of 64-year-old Susanna Osleff, she was found raped up and her back stabbed the fuck up in her own damn house on Richmond Street. When the police rolled up on the scene, they said the house didn't have no signs of forced entry and nothing was taken. Starting to see a little M.O. This motherfucker just in it for the kill and the thrill. He don't want that shit. Except they souls. I mean, I guess that's a big shit to want, but anyway, that's not the point. He didn't wait. He didn't let no time go by. The next body was found the following month, January 8th, 1987, when Jean Durkin, the youngest victim at 28, was found. Now, Jean was homeless, and whenever she slept, was wherever she could sleep. Well, this killing motherfucker sent Jean to eternal sleep, honey. They found her under a truck behind a vegetable stand at the 5100 block of Frankfurt Avenue. And Jean caught a bad one, too. Ooh, this motherfucker stabbed her more than 74 times and raped her. And if that wasn't enough, he beat her face to a bloody pulp. Now, all of this going down in the open because remember, Jean is homeless. She ain't got no house to go up in and close the door and invite a man to. She just got it wherever she was. I mean, god damn. And where was Jean's favorite spot? The Golden Bar on Frankfurt Avenue. Okay. See, it would be more than a year before the killer did his shit again. The next body turned up on November 11th, 1988. It was 66-year-old Margaret Vaughn. Baby, now the thing about Margaret, she was found in the foyer of an apartment building, not actually inside an apartment, See, they say Miss Margaret had gotten evicted from her apartment in this same building earlier that day. After she got kicked to the curb, she went to the bar to drink away her troubles. Fucked around and picked up some trouble, was gonna bring trouble back to her spot, only to get there and remember she ain't got no spot. So dude just did her on the spot. That's audacious as fuck. Like, he ain't even need no cover, bitch. Fuck it, you get it in the hallway. I don't care who come out here, they can get it too. And after he knifed her up, dropped her body, and dipped. Ooh, this nigga here, whoever this nigga is, diabolical. Well, 3 blocks away, on January 19th, 1989, the next victim, 30-year-old Teresa Sorrentino, she was getting sued up too. The only reason somebody knew she was fucked up was because her neighbor called the super to say that he needed to go and check on Teresa because she heard a big-ass thump. According to the neighbor, it sounded like somebody had picked T up and threw her ass against a wall. So the super, he do his super business and he go check out the shit. Baby, the super came running out of Teresa's apartment because he literally walked into a crime scene. Baby say Teresa caught that knife play 25 times to the body. I'm talking about stabs and slashes to her head, her chest, and her arms. They found her naked, wearing only a pair of white socks on the floor of her own fucking kitchen. Baby, this slimy motherfucker used a piece of wood that was 3.5 inches long to rape her and left that nasty ass piece of wood leaning on the kitchen sink. Just diabolical, y'all. I tell you, that's some bullshit. Now, Teresa lived by herself. She liked to drink. And in her house, there was no signs of forced entry, but unlike the others, Teresa's house was fucked up. Teresa was on some nook if you buck type of time. They tore that bitch up. That same shady ass neighbor told the newspaper she had male company every night. She had a lot of company. Sound like you a jealous bitch. Maybe I am, but I ain't a dead bitch either, country girl. Touche, bitch. You right. You still here and Teresa gone, but you still a shady bitch. See, stop worrying about how much company these folks is having. Let me stop because that's not what this podcast is about today. Anyway, now the police came in and did their thing, and in the course of their investigation, some people say that they saw Teresa with a stout white man earlier in the day before she was sent to the upper room. They worked with a sketch artist and they came up with a composite sketch of the stout white motherfucker that might know something about, maybe had something to do with all the killations that's been going on, right? So they put it out there in the world like, hey, have anybody seen this here white man? And if you have, call us because we need to holler at his ass. And people started popping out and it was like, well, wait a minute. I saw a white man that looked like that with so-and-so. And I saw a white man that looked just like that man with this victim. So it looked like all of the women who have been killed thus far have been seen with a stout white man right before they died. So at this point, the police are like, shit, we may have something. And all the focus is looking for a stout white man. Well, April 28th, 1990, 46-year-old Carol Dowd was killed. Well, shit, killing is putting it mildly because like all the rest of these snow bunnies and elder buns, they have caught a horrific ending, and Carol was no different. She was found behind Newman's Seafood Market. Brakes beat all the fuck off that ass. Oh, no more brakes. She was stabbed up in her face and her neck and her chest and all on her back. And to add insult to injury, this motherfucker ripped her stomach open like he was trying to gut her ass. Ain't that some shit? Wait a minute. And if that wasn't enough, this sick motherfucker sliced her goddamn nipple off her titty meat. Like, sir, the nipple? Have you no shame? What's she supposed to do with one nipple? Nah, to go get a nipple like that, of course, Carol got to be naked completely. And she put up a fight. But she ain't had no win in this one, and that motherfucker gutted her and left her in that goddamn alley. Now I'm going to pause right here because it is with Carol's death that some shit went left. Now remember, all of these victims have been from the Caucasoid tribe, right? And as you can tell by the ages of the victims that I just ran down for you, these, for the most part, ain't no spring chickens. These were women that have been around the block a little bit, right? But they were also women that society thought was a little too loose, drank a little too much, but they were still white. So 7 was 6 too many. And the community was not pleased that all these women were being taken off the board. They wanted something done about it, and they was very vocal in their displeasure that the police hadn't found the motherfucker that was taking them out. Now understand, the police, they have been investigating since the first victim, Helen Patton. They have been investigating since her untimely demise, and they have talked to many people, and they had a description of a man that's been seen with all of these women, a white, middle-aged, stout motherfucker. And they was looking for a white, middle-aged, stout motherfucker. They had a sketch artist come up with a composite drawing based on eyewitness testimony from the people that have seen these loose, drinking-ass women at some point before they were killed with a stout, middle-aged white man. Okay, Nate. I know you got us, but this is Melanin Mayhem. Why in the fuck is we talking about a Caucasoid as a suspect? Well, I'll tell you. I think it's important for y'all to know where the investigative aspects of this situation was going. At no point in all of these murders has there ever been a mention of a black suspect any way, shape, form, or fashion. But after Carol got police have a new suspect. Is it coming together for you now, Noir Nation? I thought you'd be picking up what I'm putting down. See, now they say that Leonard Christopher is a motherfucking serial killer. But what? Wait, Nate. Just wait one goddamn minute. Now, I know you said they was looking for a white man. And they was putting out a sketch of a white man. And now you mean to tell me that all of a sudden it ain't a white man no more? Get the fuck out of here. Yep, that's exactly what I'm about to run down for you. Now remember, the Caucasticus peoples is in an uproar. Yes, these were hoes and drunkards, loose off that goose, but they wanted the killing to stop immediately. So the pressure was on like a million for the Philly police to do what the fuck they needed to do and get somebody's head on a motherfucking platter. So, in their investigating activities into Carol's murderation, they found a couple of witnesses that said they saw Leonard with Carol right before she was killed. Oh, really? So the police, what they do? The police go to talk to Leonard. And I mean, they didn't have far to go because he worked inside of the fish market that Carol was found behind. But please understand, when they stepped to Leonard with that, let me holler at you for a minute, player. Leonard wasn't having no parts of that shit. He quickly was like, I don't know nothing, I ain't seen nothing, and I ain't got shit to say about what had happened was. Period. In that order. And can you blame him? I mean, Leonard has seen the news. The neighborhood is talking about this shit. He know that they are foaming at the mouth to put this shit on somebody. And Leonard don't want his name in nobody's mouth at a time like this. I wouldn't have said shit either. But you know how that worked for us, right? Yeah. That's why we talking about Leonard's ass now. As soon as Leonard said that he didn't have shit to say, the police turned their whole ass focus on making Leonard fit the profile of this white man that ain't white no more, that's been going on a jugging and slashing spree on the loose, drunk Caucasoid women of Frankfurt Avenue. Up until this moment that they got Leonard in their crosshairs, Carol Dowd was one of the Frankfurt Avenue slashers' victims. She was victim number 7. It's in the paper. She was that victim of a serial killer. But see, here's the thing. They couldn't quite make the stretch to make Leonard fit the bill of a serial murdering murderer that murdered all these women. So they decided that Carol, even though she was knifed up just like the rest of the Frankfurt Avenue killings, she wasn't a part of the Frankfurt Avenue victims. Let that sit on you for a minute. Ain't that about a bitch? How sway? She is the profile. She white, she a drunk, she like to drink on Frankfurt Avenue, she was loosey-goosey with the coochie, and somebody jugged her 50 times. But she not like them? Oh, they not like us? Oh, okay. And mind you, they also ain't got a shred of evidence on Leonard. No blood. No blood? How the fuck this man good at this woman and didn't have a drop of blood on his body, his clothes, back at his apartment? Nowhere? Nothing? But he the killer? Baby, they arrested him on May 4th, 1990 with all this no evidence. And Leonard sat in jail until it was time for his trial. And it wasn't long, baby. 6 months later, Leonard's trial started on November 29th, 1990. They didn't let the grass grow under their feet, baby. They was trying to do this shit quick, fast, and in a hurry. And they did. Baby, the prosecutor kicked things off by telling the jury, quote, "No one is going to come in here and tell you that they saw this crime, but you are going to hear from a couple of working girls that were outside on April 28th in the wee hours of the morning that saw some shit right before the crime and some shit right after the crime." What? That's how we starting this shit off. Now, wait a minute, all is not lost, because Leonard got a real one for a lawyer. A nigga named Jack Mahone. Now, Jack Mahone used to be a homicide prosecutor. He know shit from Shinola, and he know that they are railroading his client, and he ain't standing for this bullshit. When it's his turn to talk, he tell the jury that Leonard is being scapegoated. This shit is racially motivated because the Mayonnaisians, the politicians, said that somebody gotta pay for all this slicing and dicing that's been going on Frankfurt Avenue. And Leonard Christopher, oh, he was easy like Sunday morning. Yeah, that was pretty strong, right? It was good until the judge was like, excuse me? No. You're not going to be up in here talking like that. The prosecutor objected to what he was saying, and so the judge told Leonard's lawyer that he could not bring up the Frankfurt Avenue slayings because his client, Leonard Christopher, was only being charged with one murder, Carol Dodds, and she was not a part of the Frankfurt Avenue killings. Told that man, if you say it again, you will be held in contempt. Oh, Jack was like, fuck all that. This murder was the 7th in a series of murders committed under the exact same circumstances. That's why there was pressure on the police to solve the case. And once again, the prosecution jumped up and was like, I object, Your Honor. And Judge George Ivins, he turned to the jury and said, don't listen at this nigga. Everything he just told you, you need to unhear all that shit. Then he ordered both lawyers in his chambers. They say you could hear Jack's ass hollering at the top of his lungs about how this was some bullshit. Baby, they stayed in that judge's chambers for like 5 to 10 minutes just arguing. Judge Ivins, he was like, let me tell you something. You can try me if you want to when we go back out there, and I'm going to show you something. Well, I told you that Leonard had a down-ass lawyer. He was down, but he wasn't crazy. That man had bills to pay, and bail and contempt of court fines were not in the budget, honey. So he kept that shit to himself for the rest of the trial. Now, to try to throw them a bone, the judge did say that the prosecution could not show any pictures of Carol Dodd's body. He said that that would be prejudicial to the jury. You think? Whatever. So I told you, there's no evidence, no forensics, no blood, no murder weapon, no hairs, no fibers, no fingerprints, nothing concrete to tie Leonard to the murder. So what the fuck they had, Nate? They had the testimony of 2 prostitutes with damn near 40 arrests between the 2 of them that say they saw Leonard. Say what? Say who? You heard me. 2 working girls. And I ain't saying nothing against working girls, but them hoes is working. They ain't out here looking to see what's going on the street. And you can call me cynical. I don't care, I've been called worse, but I don't believe them. I mean, to me, this sounds like a couple of cops that might have been like, look at here. You say you saw this, and the next time you get popped, I got you. Because we know you gonna get popped again, right? Y'all already been popped damn near 40 times. Y'all stay in and out of this motherfucker. So I got you. You scratch my back, I'ma scratch yours. I mean, because what the fuck, man? Listen to the stories. One of the prostitutes, she says that she saw Leonard with Carol leaving the bar and walking with Carol to the alley. And seconds later, she heard a woman scream. You hear me now? Seconds later, she heard a woman scream. The other bitch, she says she saw Leonard coming out the alley with his shirt over his arm and a Rambo knife with a compass on it on his belt, and that he was sweating like a hoe in church. Man, if you don't get the whole fuck out of here with this bullshit, ain't no way anybody gonna believe this bullshit. The next motherfucking day, on December 12th, 1990, the jury found Leonard Christopher guilty as a motherfucker. Yes, they did. Oh, my blood pressure. Baby. Normally, in these cases, the suspect, the person on trial, they don't say anything. Leonard got up there and addressed all their asses at the sentencing. He was like, look, I smoke a little weed, and occasionally I hit a little piece of crack from time to time, but I'm innocent, man. I don't even know nobody named Carol Dodd. I wasn't nowhere near this woman when she got. He said, quote, they never say why Carol Dodd wasn't murdered by the Night Stalker. They never say why it wasn't connected to the same murders that happened in the same neighborhood the same way. And then after he gave his little statement, that same jury, they went and deliberated for about 90 minutes, and then they sentenced him to life in prison. Now, this how you know that they knew it was some bullshit. The prosecutor was going for the death penalty. They passed on the death penalty and they went with life in prison. But check this bullshit out. They say when the judgment was being read, several of the jurors was in that motherfucker crying. What? Karen, why the fuck is you crying? Cause you know that man ain't killed that woman. It don't make sense. According to the witnesses, they saw him go in the alley, and a second later, a bitch screaming, and 2 seconds later, here come Leonard. But remember, Carol was jugged up real good. She was disemboweled. You can't do that in a few seconds. Not to mention, Carol was naked. It would have took her a few minutes to get her drunk ass out them clothes. All this shit take time. And throughout all of this, you mean to tell me wasn't no blood found nowhere on Leonard? Ain't that like reasonable doubt on a silver platter? Get the fuck out of here. Baby, as they were leading Leonard out of the courtroom, a reporter stuck a microphone in his face and asked him how he felt. And in true nigga form, he said, quote, how the fuck you think I feel? I was railroaded. I did not kill Carol Dowd. I don't even know that woman. I was set up by some prostitutes working for the police. End quote. Facts on motherfucking facts. And it gets better, Noir Nation. Let me drop this little bit on you. To add insult to injury, during those 6 months while Leonard was sitting in jail waiting on his trial to start in November, tell me why another snow bunny was killed up slasher style. 38-year-old Michelle Martin was found stabbed 23 times in the face, back, and head. And Leonard couldn't have did the shit because he was in jail. But guess what? Witnesses say they saw Michelle with a stout, middle-aged white man that looked just like that sketch. That's why they came up with that bullshit that Carol wasn't part of the slasher clique. Man, Leonard was sent off to rot in prison, and he did just that. And the sad part about it, I can't even tell you when he died. Only that he died in prison of cancer. Still telling anybody that who would listen, he did not kill Carol Dowd and nobody else. Now, I don't never say what a person won't do, but I will say that there are signs. And in Leonard's case, there were no signs. All of the peoples in all of the bars where this man hung every day of his life say he was a mooch, he was a drunk, but he didn't have no fight in him at all. Like zero. He never got violent with anyone. He never lost his temper. He never played crazy. He never made anybody feel uncomfortable. He annoyed them, sure. He begged all the time. But this man never had so much as a ticket for disorderly conduct or public indecency. He never whipped that thing out on nobody. But now he a stone cold killer for his first criminal act? Like, I could see it if he had maybe jugged the bitch one time before. You know, a little swipey swipe. You know what I'm saying? But to gut a bitch your first time out? Motherfuckers don't jump off the porch like that. You gotta ease your way into your criminalistic activities. You gotta dip a toe in and test the waters. They say this nigga went from 0 to a PhD in how to cut a bitch in one whop. Man, miss me with all that shit. And I try to be civilized with my comments to law enforcement because I know they got a hard job and I appreciate them for doing what don't nobody else want to do. And I understand that they are doing the best that they can. But in this case, let me state emphatically to the Philadelphia Police Department of 1990 that worked this case, the prosecution, the judge, and the jury, fuck you as a staff, record label, and a motherfucking crew. Disrespectfully, because this was some fuckery and foolishness of epic proportions. And y'all did it as only mediocre white folks can. Yeah, I said it, and I meant every noun and every motherfucking verb. Eat a dick, all y'all. And I still don't believe it. What you say, Noir Nation? Did the cops pin this shit on the first black man that they could? They knew it was some bullshit, and in the end, the sad thing, they didn't catch the slayer. None of these victims got justice. Carol Dodd, she didn't get justice. And I still have got to wonder how many more liquor drinking, loose pussy white women caught a blade because the police said, y'all good now. Go on back to slanging that thing the way you was. How many more Leonard Christophers are out there railroaded on the flimsiest evidence because somebody under the direction of a cop said he did it? Now, I don't mind dragging these motherfuckers for filth when you can show me some definitive evidence that they did the shit, but you got to show me. You cannot piss on my head and tell me it's raining. And that's what you're doing. R. Kelly style all the way. Leonard Christopher was a creature of habit. He did the same thing every day. 7:30 a.m., he was at the Little Spot Bar, across the street from his apartment, up the street from his job. He stayed posted up there from about 7:30 in the morning till it was time for him to go to work. And then he got off work. He'd go over to his other little bar at Happy Taps, continue to get his bag on, get his drink on, and then he'll two-step his ass to the house and then do it all over again the next day. Nobody in any of these bars said that Leonard gave them any feeling of bad juju vibe. They called him passive, harmless, a mooch, not a murderer. And that, Noir Nation, is the story of Leonard Christopher, a man that the man put a Wayne Williams type of story on that stuck just enough, long enough to get him convicted of a heinous ass crime and tied his name to 7 other murders that he was not tried for nor convicted of. But did he do the one that they charged him with? I think not. Noir Nation, I can't wait to hear what y'all think of this tomfoolery. I mean, in the shenanigans that the judicial system pulled in this case, that's where the diabolical comes in, right? The audaciousness, because that was an audacious ass crime that they actually pulled the fuck off in front of everybody. Because Philadelphians, any of y'all familiar with the Frankfurt area, y'all knew what the fuck was going on. Your grandmama now knew what was going on, and didn't nobody say nothing. Tell me all about it on the social media pages. I am Melanin Mayhem Podcast on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and I'm Melanin Mayhem PC on X. If you feeling like you got a message that you just want to send me by email, do what you do. You can hit me up at melaninmayhempodcast@gmail.com. If you are so interested, there is a wonderful Facebook group where we talk and kiki on the private side. It's the Melanin Mayhem Podcast discussion group. Go search for it. Fill out your little questionnaire and I'll let you in, baby. Now, I like to shout my paper. I like to shout out the Noir Nation because y'all be leaving me some great reviews. And this week, I am shouting out Papa8854, who left this review on Apple. And he titled it Whimsical. Papa884 says, "The audacity! I seen your podcast on the Sisters Who Kill page and immediately decided to give it a listen. Not only have you yet to disappoint, you've had me in tears with the reads. Let that melanin glow." Well, yes, Papa, I fully intend to keep this light shining bright, baby. Thank you for listening, and now go tell all your friends. Noir Nation, y'all know I can't do this without you. Thank you so much for the love and the support and the streams. It is so appreciated from the bottom of my heart. I love y'all so much, and I so look forward to us getting together and doing this thing. I did happen to make it all the way through this podcast. I had to stop a few times and choke out a little bit, But we did it. And I don't sound like I'm completely talking through my nose, right? But it's time for me to go and chop this thing up and get rid of all the heavy breathing and all the coughing so it'll be ready for y'all tomorrow. So y'all know the drill. Till next time that we get together, stay safe, stay vigilant. And if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. It's one love, Noir Nation, and the country girl is out of here.